Oh no. That's my first incident. That was too much fun. Yeah, I'm sorry, but how can I possibly refuse a car that makes me smile like this? This is outrageous. Right, so I have a quandary. I am a decent way into my first year in iRacing, and I need to, well, I don't need to, but I want to move up. I'm in the D class. I want to move up to C. I want to improve my safety rating, and I'd move on from the MX5s. So now I'm just trying to figure out. I've kind of come down to 3 different series that I could race in. I've bought the 3 cars because, I actually quite like them, but I'm trying to decide which series to focus on for next season. That has implications for financial outlay as well, because I already own a whole bunch of tracks from just subscribing and racing the Mazdas. And I've bought things like the Nürburgring, Nordschleife and Spa because I wanted to drive them. But there are tracks in all of these new series that I'm looking at that I would have to buy. And so I'm trying to compare those. I'm trying to figure out which car I'm going to have the most fun in and also be safest in, because in the last race of the season in Laguna Seca in the MX5s, I drove 3 races on the Saturday and drove like a complete chump. But yeah, I kind of want to make sure that I'm safe. I have been over the last few races. I've always made sure of that, which makes the last weekend doubly embarrassing for me. I really want to make sure that whichever series I choose, I can drive well in and safely in and don't ruin anyone else's race, because it just makes me feel terrible. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I am going with either the BMW 12 Series, the Ferrari GT3 Challenge. These are both fixed setup series as well, which is attractive to me because I'm not sure I want to move up to working on setups yet. I understand setups, but I'm not sure I can be faffed with doing that while I'm still learning iRacing. And then there's the Skip Barber open wheeler, which seems to be actually around about the same pace as the MX5s. Very different to drive, but it's certainly, I did a quick test around Oulton Park Fosters because I really like that track now, and I know the time I can do full chat in the MX5, and I was nudging similar time with the Skip Barber. So what I'm going to do just now is do a test in a different track, a track that I don't know, to see if I can learn and see how many mistakes I make over the space of half an hour, say, in each car, and then hopefully come to a conclusion. Because it's the end of season 1, we don't quite yet know what season 2 is going to entail. The tracks may change, and this could easily affect my decision as well. At the moment, this is the this is iRacingBuyersGuide.net, irbg.net, which is a really good site. You can select different series to compare, and then it tells you effectively here duplicate tracks that you don't own across these series. I guess this is so that you know that if you buy these tracks, you're actually going to be able to race them in more than one series if you want. So if I bought Suzuka, I would be able to race it in all 3 of the series that I'm looking at. So there's 5 tracks there to purchase where I could get a reasonable amount of racing out of all of them. Also, it's giving me an idea of race length, and I'm actually quite attracted to the longer races. I'm starting to see that I prefer races where looking after your tires is a thing, which isn't really the case with the Mazda. These short races are all about really wrestling the car around the track, and you don't really have to save tires at all. So I'm attracted to that, and I kind of enjoy all three cars. I've given them both, all three of them, a little test. But what I want to do is see how quickly I can get up to speed on a new track with each car, and how many mistakes I make, and just how safe I feel I'd be in a race. So I'm going to choose, I think, a new track. Well, I can't download any new tracks because it's all under maintenance at the moment. So I'm going to have to use the test drive page to launch any racing at the moment, which I didn't know existed. Let's go with the Skip Barber and work our way up speed-wise. So Skip Barber and the track. What tracks have I got? You know what? I think let's go with a short one so that I can learn it more easily. Let's go with Tsukuba, because I don't know this track very well. And let's just see how quickly I can learn. Obviously, I'm not going to show the whole thing, just kind of edited highlights, anything important that I've kind of figured out or realise. But hopefully by the end of this, I'll know a bit better which car I like. Let's see, I want to adjust this. And driver height is weird. That's better. So I'm learning a track. I don't know Tsukuba at all. It's not a race I did in either of the last couple of seasons. Ooh, this is interesting. I don't know what the going pace is for this. Oh. It's not quite as bad as the karts in the Kartcraft video, but it's definitely very sensitive on the brakes. You need to be gentle. Oh, this is weird. Right, okay, I get it. Right, so... Oh, held it. Okay, it's not a particularly long track. Which is fine. Yeah, I needed to be on the brakes earlier. I'm not really going for a super fast time here. It's more how quickly can I adapt to the car and track. Bit of trail braking there. Late apex probably there. Interesting. Slightly banked corner here. I am really enjoying the Skip Barber. Ooh. I'm finding it relatively easy to correct. But this is the one that would be the most costly. Because I don't think I've got... I think I've only got 2. If it's the same as the last season, then I only have 2 of these tracks for this season. So I'd end up having to buy 10 tracks. It's a lot of money. I do also have the option of not doing a full season, doing 4 or 5 races to begin with, and doing that with a couple of Formula that have a lot of overlap in their tracks. So that has potential for the next 13 weeks. And of course, it's not, you know, instant outlay. There's 3 or 4 tracks a month, which is what I would spend. You know, it's probably about £50. I would spend that on games. I would spend way more than that on games in a month. So, given how much I've kind of committed myself to this, it might not be a massive deal. Okay, I'm starting to feel a lot more confident. The tires are warming up, or it feels like they're getting more grip at least. So, and I'm at a stage now where I always try and judge things based on my ghost. If my ghost finally gets ahead of me, I'm starting to get onto I wouldn't say I'm getting fast, but I'm certainly getting to a point where I actually have to start learning properly. Maybe look at track guides and the like. So what have I got? 50.22, no, 50.427. Right, so I gotta say, it feels a huge amount of fun to drive. That's my first off track. That's something else I should really be bearing in mind. How many off tracks am I gonna have in a session? A little bit of trail braking. Come on. Not quite. It's starting to feel like I'm on the edge. Finally. It just feels really fun to drive to me. I know people who really don't like the Skippy, but I really do. Nope. Come on. So close. I'm definitely reaching my easy limit, if you like. I haven't had to work particularly hard so far, but this is the edge of my innate speed, if I have any. Come on. Drift out to the edge. I think this will be a 48. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna do an in-lap, learn where the pit lane is. This has potential. It's fun enough that I'd definitely be prepared to buy some tracks for it. Absolutely, I think it would be worth it. I worry open wheel racing in the real world. Certainly, you have to be very clean, or you end up with some massive accidents. So, I just worry that I would be putting other people. I mean, not at risk, but you know, at risk of not having as much fun. So I have to be very, very confident that this little puppy is going to be fun to drive and easy to drive. I'm starting to side with this idea of maybe running a couple of seasons with a handful of tracks and using the overlap to help me kind of not have to deal with the financial aspects. We'll see. Does it give you right laps? So I got 48.895. Yeah, so based on that session, I'm actually quite tempted to see. But what I'm going to do now is let's take the BMW out. Baseline. I did really enjoy the Skip Barber though. I feel like it's slow enough to be for the racing to be tight, which would mean that you're learning a decent amount of racecraft. And it's actually around about the same pace as the Mazda, which means it's a step up in a different way. It's a step up in the way you have to drive it. But it's not a step up in terms of the kind of reflexes you have to have. And my reflexes are not that good anymore. Right, so let's have a look at the BMW, which I've got ready, and just Tsukuba again to save me a bit of time learning. And this session will likely be a little bit shorter because I already know which corner follows which corner. So let's see how we go. I have some misgivings, I must admit, about the BMW. Most of that is to do with a thing, I believe it's called debounce in the gear when you change down. Particularly, I quite often try and change down quite rapidly between from fourth to second. So 4, 3, 2, coming up to short corners, tight corners. And it doesn't let you do that. It very much, and I know this is good driving practice, it very much makes you use the brakes more than the gears to slow down. And I'm fine with that. But I just want to be able to, I'm finding I'm having to actually change down to second while I'm turning. The debounce is so bad. This is not, I don't believe this is to do with the sim itself. I think this is something the car does. In ACC, I think the Porsche does the same thing. And it took me a long time to get on with the Porsche. As a result, I'm not a fan of the debounce, aggressive debounce on some cars. So let's see how we get on, particularly in this short track. It might not be such an option, but such a big deal. Right, let's change the driver height. If anybody knows of a way to maintain settings between for particular cars, I'd be most grateful if you tell me, because it gets a bit tiresome having to change things like driver height every time you go into a different vehicle. I do love the engine noise. That is a really nice note. Right, let's get that out of the way. Yeah, there. Couldn't change down to second when I wanted to. It's, you know, you learn to live with these things. And again, right, let's see how we go. So what was I? 48, wasn't it, in the Skip Barber? Oh, got understeer and oversteer there. Oh, it feels like a boat in comparison. I really got to let the tires warm up though, so perhaps these first impressions are unfair. I love the engine note though, it's a beast of a car. Just a little bit eager on the accelerator there. I just got to learn what the car will allow me to do coming out of some of these corners. already faster than the Skippy, which is, you know, unsurprising. But that D-bounce, not being able to get down to second fast enough, that's definitely costing me the odd apex here, so... Keep it in third, I think. Just wants to drift out. So I managed to get up to fifth briefly. It requires a different driving style. More aggressive. Ah. And there. That's what I need to watch out for. I mean, with practice, I'm not going to make those kind of mistakes, but as a rookie on a new track, especially if I'm racing people around me, that's the kind of thing that I don't want to do. I don't want to get off-track points. I've had 3 so far. And it's all to do with missing braking points. And that D-bounce. There it goes again. So that third gear took 2 bites of the cherry, and so did second. I'm not a fan of that. Oh, and I seem to be more prone to going off the track. Just putting the wheels too far into the grass. I mean, it's obviously a bigger car, so I've just got to learn where to put the wheels. And also I'm on the left rather than in the centre, which is probably something I should bear in mind. Right, 47. Forgot crew chief again. Never mind. Just grabbing for gears. Doesn't suit my driving style. Oh, turn. I really want to like it because it sounds so good. Maybe it's a step on from where I need to be just now. I think my problem is I'm trying to use the Skippy's braking points. Oh! Yeah, it's not so good. Okay, so a little bit before my Skippy braking point might be okay. Come on! I'm gonna have one more attempt, but I think I've reached my limit with this car, and I think I've already decided. There. It's the gear change is the thing that's really killing me. Oh, I might get it. Yeah, got it. So yeah, I think this car is not for me right now. I actually think it's a fun car to drive. But I don't like the D-bounce. And I think I know for sure that my style doesn't really suit cars that want you to stamp on the throttle and bring the back end round that way. This thing doesn't really respond if you don't do that. It's a car that wants to be wrestled around a track, which is going to be great for a lot of people. But it's not for me. I need something that's, I don't know. I kind of have hopes that when I finally get to endurance racing, my style will work for me there, because I prefer to save tyres. I prefer not to be, I don't know. I prefer not to be creating tyre smoke if at all possible. We'll see. But yeah, I think so far the Skippy's in the lead, despite the extra cost involved with all the tracks. So I suspect what I'm going to do is do the 2 Series thing. I don't want to drive MX-5s anymore, not at the moment. So the only other option, given that I don't really like the BMW 12 at the moment, is the Ferrari. So that's what I'm going to try next. Again at Tsukuba, just to reduce the amount of learning I've got to do. What became clear with the BMW was that you still have to learn the track from the perspective of each car you're driving. So there will still be a learning process, but it'll save me a little bit of time. So let's go and do that. Oh yes, apologies for not going into Little Me for that last BMW section. I totally forgot to switch scenes in OBS, so we'll just switch to Tiny Me in a sec. Tiny Me. Let's see how I take to this track with a Ferrari. I suspect I'll like it a bit better. I don't think it has the same kind of debounce as the BMW 12. So let's just give it a go. Oh, what a noise. Okay, this is winning so far. Okay, I need to just boost the FOV a little bit. Oh, might actually have to adjust the force feedback for this one. Ooh, that's lovely. Hear that scream as well, the brakes squealing. The force feedback's quite strong. Compared to the other two cars. So I'll let the auto force feedback do its thing. Again, if anyone knows how to maintain these settings between cars, I'd love to know. So much to remember in terms of getting things set properly if you run more than one car. Okay, this is fun. It's also it feels easier to drive than the BMW by a long shot. Oh, okay. Right, I'll hit the auto FFB. Right, it's reducing. Yeah, so I was right. It did feel stronger. So that's me learned that it can bite me on the backside. Although it definitely is pointing where I want it to go. I think maybe I should let this let the tires warm up a little bit. So still don't really have a good idea of times. It's going to be a damn sight faster though. Yeah, so I'm changing down too early there. Oh, this is good. Just keeping an eye out for the auto FFB. I think it's quite happy there. It's not giving me any more suggestions. The auto prompt isn't popping up. I'll give it another lap and then I'll get rid of it. Okay, this is good. You see the black marks. Right. It's going to be a learning process, learning how well this is going to stick coming around here. It's going to stick a lot better. Yeah, it's a lot faster. Okay, I'm sold. This is a good car. Oh, jeez, oh. I think this is going to be amazing in VR. .43 something. 43.87. Right, I'm gonna take it easy, let the tires cool down a little bit. So I'm just gonna try and find, because I think this will have some extra controls. Yeah, so down the bottom right there you can see, I'm just gonna do a Sunday drive for a minute. This car, I don't know if it was the case in the BMW because it's a fixed setup, so I don't think it will be. But this is fixed as well, so I'm not sure if this will be available, but you've got traction control, ABS, brake bias, so I quite often like to have a little bit more forward brake bias to prevent oversteer. Oh, it feels so good. So these are things that would be an extra learning for me, something extra to get my head round. Whereas the Skippy is very simple in that regard, although it is not a fixed setup series. So it's a toss-up, I think, between this and that. And if I'm being honest, I think I'm going to do both. I think I'm sold. Ooh. Bit of trail braking. Oh! It didn't unsettle the car. It was really stable, actually. 43.5. Best and optimal are the same, which is generally a good sign in my book. I mean, all it really means is that all my sectors are my best sectors in that lap. I'm not really... Oh, okay, I've learnt my limit. Right. So I figured out my tyres were going off. So let's see, I'll give it a couple of warm-up laps. Let's see. I wonder if second gear is the way to take that corner. I think the tyres are warm enough now. Oh, that was close. Ooh. Oh, so close. Damn it. Got it. 42s. I'll take it. It's 3,000ths into the 42s, but I'll take it. That's fun. That is a lot of fun. I think you've definitely got to be aware of tyre wear with it, because it chews through them, it seems like. But yeah, definitely the BMW is gone. I'm not going to bother with that. I think I am going to, depending on what Season 2 looks like in terms of tracks, I think I'm going to do a double series. I'm going to do this Skippy and this, because this, in my time, I've had a wonderful time in iRacing, but in my time in iRacing, I haven't driven a car that's made me grin like this. This is fun. Oh man, that was amazing. I love that. Yeah, so that's my choice, I think. So I'm going to be practicing Skippy and this on every track I have available, and we'll see how we go in Season 2. Looks like a decision made. Skippies and Ferraris. It's a bit of a jump from one to the other, but we'll see how we get on. Right, a couple of hours after I stopped recording, the iRacing Season 2 2021 schedule came out. So excuse the extremely bleached out face. It's because the iRacing PDF is so white. It's crazy. Yeah, so let's have a look at it. There is, I think, I can't say for sure, but I think there's been some changes in the tracks. Okay, so let's have a look, see what I already own. So in the GT3 challenge, we have Laguna Seca. Now, I'm definitely not doing Laguna Seca. While I love driving it, I still don't feel confident that I'm not going to ruin somebody's race on Laguna Seca after last weekend, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So Laguna Seca doesn't count for me at the moment. Road America, I don't think I own. Let's have a look. Yeah, so yeah, so that's a purchase I would have to make. Spa I own. Summit Point it comes with the sub. Road Atlanta's in there. Charlotte, have I got Charlotte? Yes. Lime Rock, I've got. Okayama, I've got it. Hockenheim is, I believe, the new track, or one of the new tracks that's incoming. So I'm quite pleased. By the way, Knock Hill is coming. I'm really chuffed about that. It looks like Road America and Hockenheim are two purchases I would have to make. Those two purchases would give me 8 weeks of racing. Watkins Glen, I don't have. So if I fancied it, I'd have to buy that. Also, the Enzo Edino Ferrari Grand Prix and Long Beach I'd have to buy. So it looks like I would have to buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the full season. Which is, I mean, that last month would be costly, but I think I'd be fine for the first half of the season anyway. So that's good. So that means that, yes, I'm definitely going to do the GT3s. Skippies. Let's have a look. So this one, I'm surprised. I think I'm going to have to do... So I've got Okayama, as I've said. I've got Road Atlanta. Suzuka, I would be buying... Yeah, no. Okay, so Suzuka I would have to buy. But I kind of want to buy that anyway. I don't know. I've never heard of this one. I think I'd probably miss this one out. Watkins Glen. Well, that would help me do the end of... do week 10 of the Ferrari GT3s. So that's fine. Mid-Ohio, I could give that a miss. Unless it's an amazing course. Oran Park, we've got Enzo Edino Ferrari is towards the end of the other season, the Ferrari season. So having that kind of in the middle of the Skippy season is fine. Mount Panorama is interesting. I quite fancy that. And then Hockenheim I would have bought for week 10. No, week 9 anyway. So the previous week I will already have bought Hockenheim. Sonoma, I just watched the races at Sonoma, the real life races at Sonoma over the weekend. And I'm really, really interested in that track. It looks good. So I think I'll probably end up getting that just because I quite like the look of it. So that would give me, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 purchases. Would give me a good chunk of both seasons, which is still, you know, it's a chunk of money. There's no doubt about that, but it's not what I feared previously, where I was looking at having to buy 10 tracks for a full Skippy season. This would give me more racing for less outlay. It's just split between 2 seasons. So I think that's what I'm going to do. One of the things that seems to have come up in just as the update landed is that there's been some physics changes for this, particularly for the Ferrari, I think. I don't think it'll be particularly that different to what I've just driven, but I'm going to have to go in and prepare for a slight difference. But yeah, it looks like I've made my choice. Ferrari GT3 and Skip Barber. Sweet. So yeah, next thing I've got to do is edit this and then practice racing. I've got, so week 1 is, so what's this, the 9th. So week 1 starts next week. I'm going to skip Laguna Seca, like I said. Skip Laguna Seca and drive the Skippies. And I'll do the Skippies at Okayama. So I'll spend the next week practicing Skippies at Okayama. And sorted. Really happy with that. Right, well, I hope you found that of some kind of interest. Websites that helped me decide were the iRacingBuyersGuide.net, irbg.net, iRacing stats as well. And there was another one. Oh yeah, the weekly planner. I'll put the links to these in the description below. All three of those are really great if you're trying to plan out a season or two. Here we go. Purchases planned. I've got about, I don't know, I reckon I've got about 20 race weekends to run in the next 14 weeks. If you count each series as a different weekend. So I'm quite pleased with that. Right. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy, and bye.